Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to enable sorting in the InfoGIS ASP.NETMVC grid control. Here what I have is the ASP.NETMVC project inside of Visual Studio, and I have pre-configured the grid to use the Northwind customer information displayed inside of the table. I'm using the entity framework to build my model, and then using link to grab all the customer information and display that in my grid. So in my app data folder, I have the local instance of the Northwind database, and then I have created the Northwind entity framework model on top of it. And in my model, I have defined a customer class, customer model, which basically has a static method called getCustomerList. And what this does is it basically creates a Northwind entities, and in here it grabs all the customers ordered by customer ID and passes that as an iQueryable to the method call. And in our controller, we have a method which is called by the grid when it's ready to bind to the data source. And in here, all we're doing is we're basically calling that same getCustomerList method and passing that information as a JSON array to our view. And at runtime, the grid takes that data and binds it to itself. So we can come down here in our Razor syntax or Razor view. We have the InfoGIS grid being defined, and we are setting some properties on it, auto-generate to false, and we are basically defining our column definitions by hand. So we have a customer ID, a company name, contact title, a contact name, and a country for all the customers being displayed here. And in here we call that customer list method that's defined in a controller. So it uses the data source URL and calls that method when it's ready to data bind, and then we set up some properties, call data bind, and then call the render method. So let's run this application. So at runtime, you can see that the entire customer list from the Northwind database is pulled and displayed in our InfoGIS jQuery grid. And what we want to do here is we want to enable sorting so that when a user clicks on a header, it sorts on that column. And so to do that, we'll come back to our MVC view, and we're going to add some code. So to enable any feature, the grid has a features collection, and we're going to go in there. We call it features, and using the Razor syntax and lambda expressions, we're going to define the sorting feature. Open curly braces, close curly braces, and open close parentheses. And then in here we can say features.sorting. By doing that, we have enabled the sorting behavior in the grid. And now using chaining, we can add more sorting options. So I can say here, I can say sorting mode to be multi-sorting. So I can say mode and sorting mode dot multiple. So we'll have multiple column sorting enabled by doing that. And we can also set the first sort direction, which means that by default it's going to be ascending depending on the column type. So if we click on a column header, it's going to do ascending sort. We'll do descending. And in the IntelliSense, you can see that there are other things you can set for the sort. You can set up the tooltip, you can set the key and the value. You can have per column definition of the sort, so you can enable on certain column and disable on others by using the column settings here. You can enable case sensitivity or not, depending on how you want to set up the sorting behavior to work. So we'll just use the three different options here, and we'll run the application again. Here we have the grid again displaying the same data, but now if I click on a column header, it's going to do a sort, and as you can see that by default it's descending, so you're getting countries Venezuela, USA, and if you scroll down you will see the descending order of the countries. And if I click on the header again, it will do ascending, so it will flip the order as the user clicks on the header. So we click on the header and it does a descending sort. If I come here and do a sort on the customer ID, it will do the sort, secondary sort on the customer ID because we have multi-column sorting enabled. So again, in this quick video you saw you can take the data from the grid and that you would normally bind using Entity Framework or any other ORM solution in MVC application. And just by enabling a sorting behavior, you get the sorting feature enabled within the grid. And when you click the grid header, the grid will go ahead and sort on that data accordingly. Thanks for watching the video.
Infragistics. On the web at infragistics.com.